Hey, hey. How you going, fam? Whew. Whew. I'm gonna miss this forest. I'm gonna miss it heaps. I think that's the plan. Do a lap around the country and then come back to the forest. Let's see where the growth goes. Let's see where the walkabout takes us. Let's see what presents itself. Yeah, it's, I'm going on nearly a full year since I kind of really embarked on this spiritual journey, and yeah, when you truly want to go on the journey with the spirit, you don't know what you're in for. You really don't know what you're in for. And I guess a lot of the things that you start saying at the beginning, you just don't quite understand the depths of them. There's no other way for me to continue moving through this world without God. And you have to understand, I was very blasphemous for most of my life. I had trauma that I attached to the church, and therefore I blamed God. I blamed God for all my hard times, and that was my chip on my shoulder. And I didn't believe in it because, I thought, well, if there's a God, how come this bad shit happens? But as I've grown, I've learnt that, the bad shit that happens is not God, it's the humans. It's the world. God is the peace within it. I really don't know where to start this, but I keep getting put in positions every single day where I have to look the darkness directly in the face and allow the strength of God to handle it. Because once you know enough in this world, and if you leave yourself open to the world, a lot of people live very isolated lifestyles. They only have a few friends, their family, that's it. They have no desire to really have anything to do with the rest of the world. But once you meet enough people, and once you care about enough people, you can truly see the pain in humanity. And this day and age, you can just look on your phone, you can see the pain. But once you meet enough people and you really you understand where the pain comes from and how much pain is in this world and how people are just fucking dumping their pain onto each other in different ways. In so many different ways. The only thing that can actually help me move forward and give me faith in this world is God. There's so many. Today, I was walking through the city. I was just on my way to get a haircut. And I was having a chat with this bloke that I've known since he was quite young. And when he was quite young, he used to hang around this fella that I used to live in a shelter with. And yeah, this fella that I lived in the shelter with was carrying a lot of nasty trauma in his life that he projected onto other people through abuse, physical and sexual. And he projected it onto this young fella back in the day and sexually abused him. And I saw that young fella today, and he told me that he's asking me about someone else on you. And I was like, yeah, I know them. And he goes, I'm gonna rape him. And I was like, what the fuck? Why, bro? And he goes, because they raped my mum, and it's fucking, whoa, just hectic. And you know, I can't keep my mouth shut when someone tells me that they're gonna go fucking rape someone. So I was like, nah, brother, it's not how it, no. You need to fucking, you can't do what fucking people do to you. It'll just make it worse every fucking time. It's a fucking complicated, hard world. It's so extreme when it comes to the pain of humans. And this is in front of me every day, wherever I go, this sort of shit. I see the generational aspect of it. I see the culture of it. And you know, so many people share with me. Like, I guess being this sort of person I am, people feel comfortable just to open up to me, you know? And it's fucking hectic. It's really fucking hectic. So this is the only way that I can have the strength to keep leaving the house every day, is God. You know, like when I look out into the world and I see so much pain, I see so much addiction, I see so much fucking abuse, I see so much trauma. That's the valley of the shadow of death, you know, and yeah, I walk in the valley of the shadow of death and I fear no evil because I have the unconditional love for God and God has the unconditional love for me. And I know that perfect love, unconditional love, overcomes fear every time. I've been in many situations on the streets all across the country. I've been at train stations about to get jumped by a few people. I've been fucking, you know, I've been everywhere, man. I've been around this country. I guarantee you there isn't anyone else in this hip-hop scene that's been around and spent as much time as I have connecting with communities. And even in the most dangerous of times, I operate with perfect love, and therefore I'm safe in God's hands. I walk in the valley of the shadow of death and I fear no evil, because perfect love conquers all fear, and God's unconditional love gives me the strength to keep walking every day. And I've got to practice what I preach, because, you know, I've had so many blessings. There's this young fella, and I was talking about him in one of the other vlogs, and I took it back down because I didn't want to fucking add too much pressure on him, to be honest, because he's been running amok, and I can see he's a real good kid. But, you know, he's right at that age where he's just getting caught up in it, and it's the culture. These kids that are fucking out on the street, it's the culture. It's what everyone else is doing, so it's what they end up doing. And I saw him just before I did this vlog. Actually, I ran into him on Saturday. And on Saturday he came up and he's like, "Greels, can I have a chat with you?" I was like, "Yeah, bro, anytime." And he's like, what you've been saying, it's actually sticking with me now. You're not wrong, because you said I should be careful here, and then I ended up getting arrested, and then you said I should be careful there, and I ended up getting fucking bashed. And I was like, yeah, bro, I'm not sharing this shit with you to talk shit. It's crazy how you can take one decision and then all of a sudden you're in shit, you know? And that's what I'm trying to get to you young fellas out there, and just all you youngins out there. Just be careful of the crossroads, be careful of the decision. Because once you get to this point in life, you see every little crossroad that you took that ended up being bad for you. I got attacked by my mate's German Shepherd on the weekend. Yeah. And to be completely honest, I had 2 moments before I got to my mate's house where I felt in my gut, I don't think I should be doing this. But I give in. And I give in to the sense of, to be honest, I was people pleasing. I was like, oh, I want to make these guys happy. But because it wasn't the right situation I was meant to be in, and because I went against my intuition, within an hour, poof, I'm attacked by a German Shepherd. And I just thought, fuck, I was saying to that young fella, be careful of the crossroads and trust your gut. I didn't trust my gut, and then boof, got attacked by a German Shepherd. Which was a massive sign to me. But I could see there was a blessing in it too, because my mate that has a German Shepherd needs to wake up at the moment, and he needs to have a bit of a self-realization, because I love him deeply. But where he's at and what he's doing with his life right now is not something that I align with. And I hope that me getting bit by this dog is enough of a sign for him that he needs to turn his life around and look after himself, look after his house, look after his dog better, look after his friends better. I'm pretty good, fam. I appreciate you a lot, and I appreciate everyone's care, you know, in that sense. And yeah, the last couple of weeks there definitely has been a lot of interesting shit to navigate, and I'm very grateful for the people that are supporting me. But through all this craziness, and I know it sounds crazy because it fucking is, for me to pretend that it's normal, the world that I go into every day, we're seeing the most trauma ever. And maybe it's just because I understand it. No doubt there was fucking just as much trauma around 30 years ago, but now I understand the trauma, I understand what's going on, and I can see it. Once again, it leads me back to God. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of how I can explain, like, how I really kind of started this journey with God. I mean, it's really been my whole life. You know, I was raised in the church, but I didn't see I didn't feel the spirit in the church. You know, for me, the church represented pain, and I didn't like it. But I remember I was like in America with my dad, and we pulled in. My dad's a truck driver in America. We used to drive coast to coast from LA to New York. And once we pulled into a random church, I think it was in Arizona. And my dad's like, we'll go see this guy speak, because my dad really liked this preacher and how he preached. And so, you know, and I'm thinking, fuck off, like, this is bullshit, I don't want to do this, blah blah blah, you know. And yeah, we went and sat in this American church, and it was a pretty classic American church, you know, the ones you see on the TV. And the preacher came over to me as I sat there, and he pointed me out, and he said, God's got a plan for you, you know. And I was pretty intimidated. I was like, fuck, he picked me, you know. I was just like, fuck, I'm from Australia. Don't know what I'm doing here, mate. Getting told that God's got a plan for me, you know. And I didn't think nothing of it, to be honest. And yeah, so it's crazy. So many things have happened for me to come to this awakening where I'm at now. But really, last year when I kind of went on this journey, I was 33, and I went on a walk on the beach with a friend of mine, and she said, you know, 33 is your Jesus year. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, it's a Jesus year. It's the year that Jesus was crucified, you know, and reborn. And I was like, fuck, you know. And I looked up a bunch of stuff about the Jesus year, and I was like, true, you know. And I guess about a year ago I was so lost, like I was really lost. All of the effort that I was putting into the world around me seemed to just make things worse. I was trying to fucking do what I could for the people around me in the capacity that I had to share, and it just made things worse over and over and over again. And I think this is where I really had to break down everything, because I was like, what am I doing? I can't keep headbutting my head against the door. And you know, a big part of the start of my journey was honoring the country, honoring the land. Yeah, I think I talked about in one of my other vlogs, just like the more and more time that I've spent with Mob and learned to understand the respect for the land and the country and the honor, the more I started to do it, the more it just empowered me. I could feel it charging me up. And I started witnessing things. I started seeing I started having spiritual experiences. I started seeing spirits at different points. And seeing spirits is a hard thing, because when you're like, you know, I've seen a lot now. I've seen quite a few, you know, and it's not what you see in a ghost hunting video, you know. It's really not what you'd expect a spirit to kind of look like. But spirits they're powerful, and they can speak to you. I've seen a couple of like really kind of like physical outlines of spirits. Yeah, and I've witnessed the main way I'm witnessing them recently is I can see the presence, whether it's light or dark. Like I can tell when a spirit is around and it's light and it's good. And it's usually when people are speaking of the person that spirit belonged to. And you can see the spirit come around and it radiates with warmth. And yeah, my vision changes a bit. And I can witness the presence of the spirit in the room. And then at the same time, I've witnessed dark ones. I caught up with a friend and the person she lived with, her partner had passed away, and her partner's spirit was still hanging around. And you could tell he was a bit of a staunch fella, because I could feel his spirit when I was there, like checking me and keeping an eye on me and just like sussing me out. You know, and yeah. So these spiritual experiences started happening. The more the more I started honoring the land and honoring my spirit and spending time at night, like bare feet on the ground, looking at the stars and allowing the energy to channel through me from the stars, through me into the ground. It started to awaken my chakras. I didn't know what they were at the time. This happened kind of more, it definitely, like I knew about chakras, but I didn't really, you know what I mean? And the more that I kind of charged up and I was spending time on country and really like 6 hours a day, just passionately honoring the country, honoring the land, honoring the trees around me. One by one, spirits from my past of people that I lost started presenting themselves to me. And it got to the point where I could, like, you know, literally talk to the person that has gone from my past, and within seconds I could feel a warm embrace, and I could feel the goosebumps and the shivers and everything at once, with this like massive sense of understanding that they're still with me. And this was before I was really using the word God, you know, and I was kind of yeah, I was very kind of like universe driven, you know. Universe was kind of what I was honoring. And yeah, I've been very blessed to have a few catch-ups with different people. And one guy that really started speaking the word, oh no, to be honest, if I take it back, it was when I was in jail. That was when I first started waking up. Sorry, I've missed this bit. I was in jail and I was reading the book about Jordan Peterson. Well, not about him, written by Jordan Peterson, and it was the Antidote to Chaos. And really, it was the first time that I'd started looking at the Bible through a lens of proper metaphors, not literally. And I think that's the biggest problem with fucking humans, is they take a lot of the words in the Bible so literally, and they don't truly find the meanings for a lot of the stories and a lot of the words that are underneath it all. And either way, that's reading this book by Jordan Peterson, Antidote to Chaos, is really what dropped my guard to the language that's used in the Bible. Because you got to understand, I hate everything that the church has done in the name of God. It's destroyed so much shit. The Church of England especially. Let alone all the other bloodshed that's happening in the world over religion. I hate it. No humans can control God. And I think the biggest problem about religion is humans trying to claim what God is and holding that in argument with someone else. God is love and forgiveness and understanding, you know, and yeah, religion ruins all that. But when I was in jail, after I read that book, I started going to the prison church. And I remember the priest in the prison church, he would just really like, doesn't matter what anyone asked him, he'd find a way to answer their question with love, letting the language of God work through him. And I was so impressed, because I was like, fuck, all these young fellas kept giving him shit, kept trying to fucking get him to flip out. And no matter what, he was filled with compassion, understanding, forgiveness. And he was just like, yeah, no worries, boom, 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 boom. And then he'd just give him the best answer, which diffused their anger. I was like, man, this is powerful. And that's where you get, like, this guy had perfect love. So every time one of these young fellas who are pretty scary, you know, these are young staunch criminals covered in tattoos, done some dangerous shit, and they try and kind of intimidate him with what they were saying, and he'd just go, nah, perfect love. And I didn't even learn the term that perfect love conquers all fear till later down the track. But now I look back at it, that's what was happening. Every time that they would try and scare him, he hit him back with perfect love. And that's what I'm trying to do. You know, what I see out in the world does scare me. You know, the shit that I saw today with that young fella that had been through all that horrific abuse, when he looked me in the eyes, I just saw the dark spirit that was attached to him. And this is why we need God. Is because I really think when people go through something really traumatic, there's a dark spiritual element that gets attached to them. You know, a lot of people that see spirits around are people that have been through very traumatic situations. And I think when you go through stuff like that, it can open you up to a dark, dark world. You know, when people say they've got demons, it's because they've been through some hectic shit. And there can be a dark spirit attached to them. Now, once again, the only way that you can heal this shit is through perfect love, unconditional. You know, and yeah, it's the light. God is the light that, like, I believe will come through and continue to heal. So far out, it's a big thing to explain all this, So I've had a few massive moments where I physically felt the power of God working through me. And one of the big moments was at my mate Egg's house up in the sunny coast. And I was in the kitchen and I was talking to Egg about all these crazy things, because as I travelled the country last year and I went from Perth to Sydney to Brisbane to Tassie, Darwin, all these crazy synchronicities and serendipitous situations kept popping up. You know, every person that I'd run into in Perth or run into in Sydney or run into in Brisbane or back in Tassie were all interconnected in some way. And there was this crazy energy going on across the whole country. And because I'm the only person in that situation that was all over the place, I could really see what was happening. And I could see who was carrying the pain and how they were projecting it and where it was coming from and all this sort of stuff. But it was crazy. Like, it was really crazy. The different things that happened. You know, I got presented with a lot of dark energies, and somehow the light that was in me managed to keep me safe. And I was explaining to my mate Egg, and as I'm talking to him, I was just getting so overwhelmed with the spirit. I was like, oh man, this is full on. Like, and Egg's known me for like most of my life, and I was like, Egg, am I going crazy? And he's like, nah, bro, you're onto something. I'm not sure what it is, but you're on, you know. And I just started like hyperventilating, or just breathing really deep. I don't think hyperventilating is the right word for it. It's like I just uncontrollably started doing the Wim Hof breathing technique. That's what it was like. And as I laid there and I was breathing, all of a sudden I kind of like passed out, and I just saw like this kind of understanding of all the pain in the world. I saw everything from wars to, you know, society, and I just forgive the world for its pain. And I saw, like, it felt like if everyone could understand what I'm experiencing right now, then the world could be at peace, you know. And that was like half a year ago, that situation. But after I like woke up from it, I could feel this golden light coming out of my sternum, above my belly button right here. And I called up my mate Tons, and I was like, Tons, I've got this golden light going on. And he's like, that's your solar plexus, bruz. And I was like, fuck. All right. And started looking more into that. You know, up in Darwin, it was really kind of my root chakra that first presented itself, and then the solar plexus. Then a couple of weeks ago, I sent a message to my sister, and I sent it with all the love, because I love my sister very much. And I was just, you know, trying to send her a message with all the love that I've got poured into it. You know, I care about her a lot. And yeah, I was about to crash out, and I just sent this big message to my sister, and it was about God. You know, and after I sent the message, I just like got rolled onto my back. That's what I was just like lying on my side in bed, and just went poof. And then I started doing the breathing again, and it was uncontrollable. And but I was breathing deeper, and breathing deeper. And every time that I breathed, my lungs seemed to go up to the top of my head and down to the bottom of my feet. And I felt my solar plexus, this golden light, erupt in my guts and spread throughout my whole body. And it was full on. It felt like I was levitating. It's like this golden light was inside me, top to bottom, to the tips of my fingers, to the tips of my toes. And one by one, all my chakras started lighting up from the bottom to the top. And I could feel my crown open up. And it was like the entire universe was cycling through me. And yeah, through my chakras. And at this point, my back was arched, and I was lying there just breathing, and my eyes were fluttering. And yeah, I felt like I can't explain how I felt. It was so intense. And then, as I was just like, this was uncontrollably happening to me. I wasn't making it happen, it just happened. And I'm lying there breathing deeper than I've ever breathed in my life, to the top of my head, to the bottom of my feet, from my fingers to my toes, filled with this light. And then all of a sudden it felt like there was a bag of popcorn in the back of my skull, like just under the skull, at the top of the spine there, right there. It felt like there was a bag of popcorn in the microwave, and it just started going pop, 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 pop. It kind of felt like pop rocks inside your mouth, but in your brain. And the best way I can explain it is that, you know, when you're growing up, and I love this metaphor for the trauma tree, you know, Fatty Few taught me this. But as your brain grows from a baby, it's like a tree growing, right? You got branches that come through all your head until the front of your head's formed there. And as you go through life, you know, your brain develops in stages. And if you go through trauma in your early days or in your later days, it leaves kinks in the branch. So if you go through trauma early in life, you'll have a lot of kinks at the back of your head there, where there's kinks in the branches. Now, a big way of when they're doing therapy is they try and get back down the branch and find where that trauma is, where that kink is, and they try and straighten it out, you know, by reprocessing and, you know, reliving the trauma in a more way that you can actually understand it and process it from an adult's perspective. So as I was lying there and this bag of popcorn was like pop, 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 pop in the back of my brain, it felt like the kinks in the branches were getting straightened out. It was like I was cracking my knuckles. You know when you crack your knuckles, you get that relief? It was like each pop in the back of my brain was like a trauma release. And it just kept going, pop, 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 pop. I kept breathing deeper and pop, 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 pop. And like a bag of popcorn, it eventually went like pop, 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 pop. And then I stopped the breathing and I kind of came back to. And I had a deep understanding for every person that has ever hurt me in my life. It was insane. It was like, yeah, it was like I stretched out my trauma and got this deep, deep forgiveness and understanding. And it's crazy because now that, you know, and I have feelings where I get judged and I judge back in the moment. But then, you know, quickly I try and check myself, because once again, I find every time that I judge someone, they're usually nice to me, and then I'm like, I get humbled straight away. I catch myself. I was like, fuck, you're judging them, and then they were nice to you, which is a sign from God for me, you know. But whatever happened that night, and that was only a few weeks ago, it was such an overwhelming experience. It was really, really full on. But it just gave me a deep understanding for everyone. You know, for everyone's stresses, for everyone's fears, for everyone's pain. And I get it. And that's the hard thing. The hard thing is talking about this stuff and for people to think that I'm judging them, or to think that, you know, yeah, I'm being righteous. And I guess, you know, I am. And I'm consistently trying to always check myself to be self-aware. But for me personally, this shit doesn't fuck around. If you are aware of what's right and wrong, and you make a few wrong decisions, boof, it catches up with you straight away. And I think because I've been practicing, and I mean preaching this sort of shit, you know, getting bit by the dog was a big like slap in the face, like, hey, wake up, practice what you preach. These choices, you know, are a butterfly effect. And the butterfly effect is God as well, you know. Everything happens for a reason. That means that every chance that we take now will end up coming full circle to a reason. You know what I mean? Every chance that we take. I guarantee you, as I'm traveling this country, there's going to be a bunch of things that happen. I'll go, look, everything happens for a reason. But that just proves that every chance that I'm taking now will end up in a situation that we need to justify. You know? And when you justify it, that's God. That's the thing. Like, everything is meant to be. You know, whether you do something now or whether you don't, everything's meant to be, even in the pain. But understand, everything that happens in the dark will come to the light. And that's God. And that's what's happening right now. That's why there's a big awakening going across the world. We can all see this shit. We can all see the entertainment industry for what they're doing. And it is a war. It is a war. Because for the powers that be up here that make these decisions, that keep putting themselves above God, I see it play out in the bottom. And really, the ones that are at the top just create a world of perpetual misery that they try and sell us on the fact that we need it. And this, once again, it brings us back to God, because God is the only person that can truly just love you for you. You know, that language might sound a bit weird, but, you know, I feel that like addiction, right? Addiction. There is so much pain in the world, and it's hard. There's so much trauma. So people get addicted to something to block out the pain. I know when I've been addicted, because, you know, I carry pain in my life. I'm doing my best to let go of it all. It doesn't mean that there isn't still pain there. It doesn't mean that I still don't get triggered. You know what I mean? And addiction for me is blocking that pain out. Because that's what happens when we take drugs or we drink, is to block out that pain. And that's where I see so much of the pain, because the same people that are using substances to block out the pain are now casting pain onto others. And that's where the cycle goes. You know, a lot of people that are stuck deep in their addictions don't realize the pain that it's causing on the people around them. You know, there's a lot of people in my life that are heavily addicted to substances, but they're so deep in their addiction, they don't realize how much it's hurting me. And I'm the least of their worries. They got families. This is why my only answer at this point is God. I used to watch, comedians that would joke about, AA and fucking God and shit. And it's like, no, what's wrong with this? If you can find a connection to the higher power that fills your cup up enough that you can deal with any stress in the world, you know, and this is it. God gives me the strength to walk through the valley of the shadow of death every day. And because I pay attention to the world around me, I am confronted every single day on a deeply level, like a deep level. But I can see it all for what it is, and it all comes through humans validating themselves or filling that void with the substance or other people or whatever, you know. They use that shit, or they use power. That's the big one. Everybody wants power. Everybody wants power. Why do you buy the fucking nice car? To look powerful. Like, you know, the common hierarchy now in society is money. What do you get with money? More power. What do you get with power? More problems. And once people get too much power, then they need to do some extra shit when they get fucking too much power. They're like, no, this isn't good enough. I need to do some weird shit. Yeah. So for me, at my point in life and my experience for how I get triggered by the shit in the world, God is the only answer. And I have so much faith that I'm going to keep getting put in the right places. Like, honestly, I just feel, I've never felt more like I'm walking in my purpose ever. It's crazy. I'm walking down these same streets I've walked half my life. I felt lost. I felt discarded. I felt empty. Now I feel exactly where I'm meant to be. I feel fulfilled. And I'm walking in my purpose. You know, fucking giving love to the world every day. Even in the fucking most confronting situations. And I just got to keep doing that. I've got to keep giving to God. People are waking up out there. There's a lot of rappers that I've been talking to that are so strong with God right now. And these are all guys that have had enough. They've had enough of all this shit, and we see it all for what it is. There's so much fucking, yeah. It's really common. Like, someone commented today and they're like, why do you keep bitching about hip hop? I'm not bitching about hip hop. I'm bitching about the ego that's attached to it. Because fuck, man, yeah. I've risked my life. Fuck, I've risked my freedom. I've risked my health. I've risked everything for the sake of getting my album done, doing this. You know, I'm going to be telling the whole story of how I paid for my first album. And that was a mission. I'll tell it one day in a vlog. But come to the shows, come hear this mission. It's a fucking... I can't believe I did this shit. I look back on it from where I'm at now and I was like, what was I thinking? You know, don't get me wrong, I'm grateful. I know it's all meant to be. It's all a part of the plan. And I'm so lucky that I survived. And I have to take all of this as a second chance. Because I'm not doing crime anymore. I'm not risking my shit anymore. If my gut tells me not to go down this road, I'm not going down it. I have to stay true to God now. Because fuck, two wrong turns and boof, another German Shepherd. I'm getting very superstitious, you know. And it's very interesting. But for me in my life and my journey, I look back on all the signs and there was red flags every time. Every time that I ended up in a shit situation, there were red flags. Isn't it funny that the devil's color's red? You know what I mean? Like, red flags. Ooh, wonder why. And I look back and I see all those red flags and I'm like, I didn't know, I didn't realize. That's very interesting. I've never thought about that. Red flags. It's the devil's color. See, I talk a lot about this shit with my dad quite a lot. And my dad doesn't believe in the devil. And I don't know if devil's the right word. I mean, evil with a D is devil, but I see the devil. I see the devil. I see the devil in all the pain. It's the darkness. And this is it. Once I truly allowed God into my life, it gives me the light that I need to look the devil in the eyes and go, nah, that ain't it. Yeah, I really slowly this has been coming into my life. And I don't really like using the words until I understand them. And Jesus Christ was the word that I was struggling with. And, you know, there's so much of this shit that I'm still kind of getting my head around. Because once again, I just carried a lot of pain from the church, which prevented me from really taking a lot of this stuff in. But, yeah, I understand that God is all. God is everything. God is the creator of everything. And he sent his son, Jesus, to deliver the Spirit. Right? See, I feel like I started finding the Spirit before I found Jesus. And I found the Spirit through the land and through the people. The more I gave love to the people around me, even in the darkest of times, I get hit really hard with some confronting shit. And I wouldn't give in, and I'd still just push through and give love. That was how God presented himself to me, was in these crazy serendipitous situations. There was one week in Darwin that just, God slapped me in the face, and that was when I ran into old mate Ian, whose jaw I broke, which came with its own crazy week of serendipity. It was unbelievable. But I had to believe, because that's how much, it was a miracle. Like, it's the best way I can explain. That night when I saw the guy whose jaw I broke, the amount of different chances of the butterfly effect that led for me and that guy to be in that exact same place at the same time, to see each other after 7 years since I broke his jaw and to have that healing, that was God slapping me in the face going, wake up, are you listening? And I guarantee you, if you mindfully, in any situation, refuse to give in to the pain, refuse to give in to the darkness that's trying to get at you or trying to hurt you, and you just keep pushing forward with that unconditional love, forgiveness and acceptance, God will put you exactly where you're meant to be to understand the blessing of it all. And yeah, that's just the beginning of this journey. But I know that it's all been a part of God's perfect plan. And I'm talking every hardship I ever faced. And you talk to anyone that has found God and truly has found the Spirit, and they're not using it for the sake of just being cool. Because trust me, if I wanted to be cool right now and fit in with the trendy cunts, I wouldn't be walking around with my shoes off in a forest talking about God in a fucking singlet. You know what I mean? I'm not fazed about fitting in with fucking anything anymore. I'm good. I'm good. And I got nothing but love. I can't be fucked with fitting in anywhere. And if anyone wants to judge me on what I'm wearing or where I'm at in life or how much money I've got, well, that's your burden to carry. That judgment, I don't receive it. I don't take it. And I release you with love. I know I'm in God's hands right now. And as long as I have faith and keep moving forward, even in the valley of the shadow of death where I might get fucking bitten by a German shepherd, I understand everything's meant to be. It comes with a blessing and a lesson within it. And this is divine. And for all you guys that are watching out there that are aware, I think it's time for God's people to stand up. It really is. You know, Cat Williams said, you know, God's people ain't few, there's many, you know, and yeah, it's hectic. So many people out there need God. So many people out there need to, at the end of the day, you can lead the horse to water. You can't force it to drink, you know. I'm not trying to force anyone, but I can't not plant the seeds. Because I'm so grateful for the people in my life that planted the seeds that has allowed me to slowly come to the light. And find this light in my life that gives me the strength to forgive, gives me the strength to do my best to understand. It's an interesting one. It's an interesting one, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's only going to get more radical. It's only going to get way more radical. And I thank God for the blessings to come. Because I know if I stay on the right path and I don't give in to the darkness, even when it's knocking at my door or crossing me in the street or calling me on my phone, I know it's all going to be good, because God is good. God bless, fam. I hope you're doing all right. Thank you. And I give it all to God. I've got to give it all. I'm going to keep charging my spirit. Going to film a video clip tomorrow. And then I got my first GreelTalk live show this Friday at the Republic Bar in Hobart. And then I'll be heading up to Launceston. And Saturday night at the Gunners Arms. The tickets are available on OzTix. And I hope to see you there, fam. God bless.